Hello viewers, welcome back to another edition of the Educational Forum live on Vision TV with me, SAIDOU JALLOW. On today's topic, we'll be discussing on civic education. Joining me is a third-year student of the University of the Gambia, studying political science, Mr. Kemo Conte, who doubled as the Minister for Education and Research in the UTG Student Union. Mr. Conde, you are welcome on this program.
Thank you very much, Mr. SAIDOU, for these invitations. I think the invitation is very timely, given the fact that we are entering into another political push and pull, as government politics will always entail. Thank you so much.
Exactly. We are elated to have you here, Mr. Conte. As there are several political topics on which citizens should have some kind of basic knowledge, these include constitution, electoral process, rights and duties, manifestos, and so on. So what do you think are some of the rights and duties of citizens in electoral process?
Thank you very much, Mr. Jallow. Once again, it is first important for us to understand what politics actually meant, because I think whenever we talk about politics, the negative and pejorative connotation in political science, we'll call it, that arose into the minds of many is quite overwhelming. Even this is not only about layman perspective of politics, but even some scholars, they tend to have a very big misconception about politics. Some certainly think that politics is about manipulation, is about lying to people, is about being cunning in order to achieve a political dividend. Politics, with its real format, is different from that. We are told by Andrew Haywood that politics is nothing but it's a way of making rules, general rules for the society, so the society can live in a very, very good, good format. Okay. When we looked at politics in its holistic term, particularly issues relating to citizens involving in politics, things that they need to know as part of their fundamental rights are clearly spelled out in our constitutions. If we check from section 35 to section 39 or 38, it's all about right to this, right to that. And I think right to associate yourself to an organization, right to associate yourself to a political party, is something that is guaranteed in our constitution. One second, also the right to vote and to be voted for, that is also guaranteed in our constitution. And of course, right to decide whom to vote for, that is your conscience, exactly, is also guaranteed in our constitution. So these are issues that citizens need to know, and even beyond, because right to campaign, right to many other things, these are clearly spelled out in our electoral rules. So I think what is right here that citizens need to know is clearly spelled out. So it is now the duty of bodies that are entrusted with the responsibility of making citizens to be aware of this right, such as the National Council for Civic Education, exactly, to intensify their campaign so that citizens can understand this right, as well as some civil society organizations also to take part in this campaign, so that we can make especially illiterates, electorates, or even some who are literate, they are lettered people, but yet they might not be okay with some of these rights and duties. So they need to know all these things.
Exactly. So as right now we have entering the nomination of the candidates for this coming of the National Assembly election. Because after we have seen, like in 2016, the number of people who went for vote to the presidential election, and for that of the National Assembly election as well, we have seen how low was the turnout for them when it comes to the voting of the National Assembly. What do you think is the cause of this?
All right, there are several factors responsible for this because of Gambian attachment to national elections, particularly the National Assembly election. But I will quote from one of our great politicians, that is Halifa Saleh, who said that voter apathy is one of the major concerns of Gambian democracy. Voter apathy basically means that people who are enfranchised, they have the voting right, yet because of out of doubt or out of obliviousness, they decide not to vote. They will say, oh, whether I vote for this guy or not, yet this person is going to win. So they will stay aside. They will not take part in this exercise. That's one of the responsibilities that could see that could lead to this variance in our political system. But then if we are to make this comparison between presidential elections and National Assembly elections, we have seen during the time of APRs, during the time of Jammeh's 22 years of rulership in this country, there are moments in time, particularly in 2012, where some seats were even unopposed in different constituencies in this country, including my own constituency, Central Badibu. And we have also seen how people feel about the National Assembly members from their respective constituencies. Some feel that National Assembly election is not important because people whom I am going to vote for, they will serve as a rubber stamp in the National Assembly. They will only advance the views, the aspirations, the agenda of the ruling party or the president in position of power. Rather, they will not represent me. So they feel that wasting your time or taking precious moment of your time to go to your respective constituencies, casting your ballot for those people and coming back, it's a waste of energy, time and resources. So they fail to step back. But I will caution the entire populace, particularly the young people, especially with the trend I am seeing. A lot of young people are contesting as a National Assembly member in their respective constituencies for them to go and cast their ballot. Because if you don't vote for people, if you make yourself as an apathy in an election, it means your decision not to vote will be a decision that will haunt you back. Exactly. I mean, so it is important you go to the forefront and you exercise your franchise. It's very, very important. So another factor that could be responsible for that, because of the type of candidates that may be posted in different constituencies. We understand how in our current politics, particularly in Gambia here, how the ruling party or how some influential government officials in our respective constituencies have power in deciding for a party as to who should become the party standard bearer or candidate in a particular constituency. So when people become oblivious of who is now selected by a party or some influential people there, that person can steer their affairs, they can step back. They will not even bother to go on forward because they don't have confidence in that person. So a lot of factors are embedded in this act of people or electorates in the Gambia.
Yes, that's quite obvious. We have seen, like yesterday, you know, the nomination started yesterday. So I have interviewed with some people, like these aspiring candidates. Some of them are saying that what they are telling the electorate is that if they are voted into office, they will build these roads and other. Like, do you think they have the they will have the money to build those or to do so?
If any candidate tell me that if you vote for me, I'm going to build a road for you, I will not vote for you.
That's quite
for the fact that you don't even know your responsibility in the National Assembly.
Exactly.
You don't have that manpower. You don't even have. In fact, it's not your responsibility to build a road. Your decision is to influence, to see that developments are decentralized. Development touches your constituency. Your presence in the National Assembly is to influence decision, is to make, unmake, as well as repeal laws for your constituency, is to stand for the voice of your constituency, is to ensure that the desires, the agenda, the wishes and the aspiration of your constituency is heard by the entire country at the National Assembly. The reason why we have this indirect system of democracy, because when we get back to the root of democracy, we will understand that in the Athenian style of democracy, which is the direct form of democracy, is where everybody meet at a banter bar, they make decisions and they finalize decisions there on behalf of everyone who is present there. But with the complexity of the modern political system, as well as the rising nature of the population, not everybody in the Gambia can go and sit in the National Assembly, one building, and make decisions. So there is need to select few from amongst us to go and represent all. And these people, most people who are conscientious enough, these people must be rational and logical enough and understand the needs and the aspiration of their people so that they can speak on their behalf, so that the government can hear that, policy makers can hear that, decision makers can hear that and act based on that. But a parliamentarian or aspiring parliamentarian telling me that I'm going to build a road for you, I will not vote for you.
That's quite obvious. Because this is what I experienced yesterday. Many people were saying that I'd like, if I ask the question, if you are elected into office, what does your electorate, what do they expect from you? They'll be saying like, I'll build roads, build this and this. I have started, some of them who seek for the election, they say that I started this, but I need to complete it. So, you know, so aside that now, like we have seen in the December presidential election, yes, how people were active in the process. About 10 of thousands of voters went down all the way to CRR, URR, NBR, and LRR just to vote for the candidate of their choice. but during the National Assembly, that was different. And this also implies in the 2021 election, this past presidential election, about 90% or 80-something people, 80-something% voter registered has casted their vote. But do you think this also will appear in this coming election?
Yes. Again, it's taking us back to the original question.
Exactly.
Yes. The fact remains this. I mean, people in the Gambia, I wouldn't say that all of us are politically irrational, but we still have people who are politically irrational. If I may use the language of political science, I would say some of us are politically unconscious for the fact that we don't know some of our fundamental political rights, things that we need to do to ensure that our voices are represented well. We understand and value the importance of our national assemblies in terms of lawmaking, in terms of law repealing, in terms of making certain amendments for us when needs arises. If some of these things don't get to us proper, or some of these things we are not taking them seriously, I think we will not attach any relevance to National Assembly election, because what many people, or sometimes people look at the fanfare nature of it, how gingered the whole process is, how can I get feeling or resources from this, so that will not make people to come and vote in their large numbers in presidential election. Or if they are completely fed up with the system, let's say in 2016 we saw a large number of Gambians coming out to vote because they were fed up with the system. They were seeing that was happening during the 22 years of Jammeh's rule. And this National Assembly elections is not very much important to people, for the fact that they feel that National Assembly members, at the end of the day, when you vote for them, they will go and sit at the National Assembly. Some of them will not even be able to speak there. Some of them will not even forget about their constituency. They will only come and have contact with them when election arises. So a lot of things make people to become oblivious of the essence of National Assembly members. And this makes them to count themselves among people who will be part of the voter party, people who will have their National Assembly, their voters card, but they will not vote.
How do you think this number of people who are not going to vote, how do you think this affects the development of our democracy?
Yeah, that is why in some countries, particularly in Scandinavian countries, voting is mandatory on every citizen, except when you are suffering from a terminal illness, or you are unconscious, or something happened to you that is very, very serious that you cannot vote. But to say that you are enfranchised and then also you are ably fit, nothing wrong happened to you, and then you remain unvoted or being part of a party, that is a treasonous offense. They don't tolerate that in Scandinavian countries and even some part of the world.
Okay.
The reason being that is that every single person in the country must take part in this crucial decision making. Because remember, we are voting for these people in every 5 years.
Exactly.
And within that 5 years, the decision they make, whether you vote for them or not, is going to affect your life.
Exactly.
Okay? And also, if you look at some of these countries, state has invested a lot in people. Okay? And then the same people are expected to make their voice heard so that they can be counted among what the state will actually assume to be public opinion. They need to be counted among those people. Let's say that we want to put up viewpoints such as the issues of we need water, we need electricity, we need this, and who should actually put up these matters for us at the National Assembly is our representative. But when we are not bringing up these matters, maybe our National Assembly members might not in fact be interested in them. So it is important for everybody to speak. But to speak effectively, you have to speak through your vote. Now, if you said, I am enfranchised, but I'm not going to vote, I think that is going to cost the state. That is why some states in the world are very much interested for people to vote. And if you don't vote, it's going to refer to as voter apathy. And scholars are saying that voter apathy is also dangerous to democracy, because for democracy to be effective, there should be government of the people, by the people, and for the people. And people, if people are not willing to make government for by them, it's going to pay back, or it's going to fire back. Exactly. So before that happens, it's good that you take part in that decision making, on that exercise.
That's quite obvious. So what do you have to say to those people who normally like sit and say, I rather stay here than to go and vote for these individuals?
So in summary, I will tell those people that the decision not to go and vote is a dangerous decision. because it's that decision that will backfire on you. You have the ambition that if I don't go and vote, because these people will not benefit me. Meaning you think that those people are not relevant, those people are incompetent. Now, if you allow people who will not in fact be aware of that, what you understand about those people, to go and vote for those people, to assume office on your behalf, then whatever foolish, whatever wrong decision, whatever bad decision they make is going to backfire on you. So it's good that you take part in that exercise. Upon knowing that these people are not competent enough to man this position in order to make decisions on your behalf, vote against them. Or you yourself can offer yourself as a candidate. As a candidate, exactly. So it's good to take part in this exercise. That is why Constitution guarantees it as your right to vote and to be voted for. So, but don't actually take part.
Thank you very much, Mr. Conte, for that. We are very happy to have you here. And viewers, we have come to the end of this show. Thank you so much for watching. Until next